What's up, everybody? I'm Jessekazam. Welcome back to another Escape from Tarkov video. In this video, we're going to be talking about what are, in my opinion, some of the most underrated weapons in Escape from Tarkov. A few guns that I don't see very many people use, but absolutely shred and you can be super proficient with. I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. I'd love to have you stop by and say hey. And also like the video if you like it and think about subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Subscribing really helps me out as a creator, so thank you so much to those that do that. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. So in this video, we are talking about the DT MDRs. These are some weapons that I have so much fun using. I don't see a lot of people running them, and in my opinion, they really are sleepers in Escape from Tarkov. So we're going to talk about like the stats of the guns and the attachments and why I think they're an incredible value for what they provide in a little bit. But first off, when you think about like end game Escape from Tarkov, the two calibers that emerge almost exclusively from meta Chad Juice Boys are 5.56 and 308. So on the 5.56 end, you've got you can rock M4s, the meta M4s, and the HKs, which you see a lot of top tier players running. And then you've got 308. So you've got your M1As, your SA58s, the Juice Cannon, RSAS, SR25, all that kind of stuff. So these are the calibers that end up emerging, and the ammo on both ends supports that pretty well. On the 5.56 side, you've got 995, which has always been the top tier. In my opinion, it's way too expensive. I never run it. 5.5A1 has 43 pen, 45 damage, and what it costs, the price performance, in my opinion, sits pretty solid. 5.5A1, even up against a slick class 6 armor, after 5 shots, you're going to have effectively zeroed that. You're going to have crushed the armor, and your pen chance is going to be at like over 90% after just 5 shots. Or if you're going for the head, you won't even have to shoot that much. So of course it is going to struggle more against those class 6 than other things, but the fact that you can get it more readily available, you can buy from Skier and Peacekeeper. I normally just keep an ammo case like half full of it. I'm just, no matter what I'm running, I'm constantly checking the traders, buying up as much as I can, so I'm never having to pay the ridiculous flea market prices. And then the same thing on the 308 side with the MDR. I mean, you've got the brand new 993, which is absolutely insane. It is also incredibly expensive. All the way down though, M80, which was kind of like, you know, good old reliable, you know, it's definitely going to be struggling if you're going for 1 clicks to the chest. It used to be kind of the 1 click round because it has 80 damage, but 41 pen, it's a big boy round. It's the same thing against the slick. You're going to be like 4 or 5 shots before you have effectively crushed the slick. It's got more armor damage, so it's going to be doing that faster than 5.5A1. And then same thing if you're going for the head. But you can even move up to something like M62, which is definitely a bit more pricey, but M62 is going to just crush. You can like almost zero out a slick in like 3 shots. So the ammo supports it. That's why these calibers end up being meta. But what happens is people end up spending hundreds of thousands of rubles putting together, you know, a juice cannon with all the meta attachments, or they spend hundreds of thousands of rubles putting together meta M4s, meta HKs that rip all the way down. I've done a lot of content in the past that talks about like you don't have to have the meta recoil to be proficient. And so if you're somebody that can't afford running meta M4s or HKs every single raid, but you like to use those style of weapons or that caliber, these weapons are just, the value proposition in my opinion is insane. So the price of these weapons, you can buy them both from Peacekeeper, although this is definitely not the best value. So 737 USD comes out to about 90,000 rubles, and 1,310 USD comes out to like 160,000 rubles. I would never buy them from Peacekeeper. You can buy them from the flea market for much cheaper. So instead of 90,000 rubles, you can get the 5.56 versions for about 50. Now, before you guys go down in the comments, yes, when I make a video about this, the prices of these might rise temporarily, but anything I've ever made a video about, the price has kind of like evened out very quickly. So you might see these for 60K after the video drops, but they will level back out to around 48 to 50K. And then on the 308 side, instead of 160,000 rubles, you can pick these up for about 73,000. Now going right back in line with what I talk about all the time with like meta attachments and stuff like that. If you wanted to go absolutely meta with something like this, one of the things I love about them is that there's not a whole lot to do to them. So you get the value of the gun and you don't have to spend a whole lot more money. Whereas if you buy an M4, you literally have to replace every single piece of it to get it to meta. If you wanted to go full meta with these, you can put the old RK2 on. You'd put the wave suppressor on, because I like to run, I basically always run everything suppressed, so I like running these suppressed. You can even super meta it and put the front and rear sight on. The M-Bus give you 1 ergonomics each, and then the optic of your choosing, or a flashlight or whatever. But as far as stats, that's as low as recoil as you can get these things. This is 62 vertical recoil, 172 horizontal, and 75 ergo. Now, that looks on paper like a lot, because you can get a meta M4, which is the same caliber, down to like 38 vertical recoil. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, are you proficient with what you're using? Have you set the right expectations for what your weapon is going to do for you? And can you handle the recoil that you know is going to come? I have dropped plenty of geared boys, Chad boys, meta M4 guys with these weapons. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with using a meta M4. I super enjoy using the laser beam guns all the time, but this is going to still be pretty proficient. Now, if you wanted to do that, like we said, it's not a whole lot of attachments, but you're still paying about 70,000 for the wave and the compensator, and 25,000 for that foregrip, and then a little bit for the rest of this stuff. And if we go back and look, 62 vert, 75 ergo. If we actually just switch this out for much less meta stuff, instead of putting the wave on, we can put the Surefire. You know, I love the RC2. And then we can even take these off and not spend the extra money on these. It went from 62 to 65 recoil. 3 additional recoil by using nowhere near meta. I mean, these M-locks are like nowhere near meta. And by doing that, instead of spending all that money that we were going to spend, now we can't get these from traders, the RC2s. Now it's 30, it's just over 40, or just under 40K for the suppressor and the compensator. And instead of 25,000 rubles for the foregrip, you're at 66 USD. So now that's so much cheaper than going meta, and you've really only sacrificed 3 recoil. And the difference between 62 and 65, like if you're already above 60, you have to be aware of, you know, where that spray pattern's going to go. You have to really be on top of it. That's going to be nothing. So I really, really like these guns, and we can switch over to the 308 version, and it's literally the same exact story with the same exact modifications, because these are functionally, you know, the same gun. We can put a wave on there because the wave supports both 308 and 5.56. So we can put the wave compensator, the wave suppressor. We can put our RK2 on if we wanted to go meta, and you know, we could put the M-buses on if we want to. These things, the 308, are obviously going to kick more. It's a much, much bigger round. So they're going to kick more. It's up to 88 vertical recoil and 71 ergo. Without these, you can get that up to 73, 74. But the story is absolutely the same. You just slap an M-lock on. You don't have to get any adapters. However, the thing about the 308 MDRs is that for a suppressor, you don't really have a super good secondary option like you do with the 5.56 with the RC2 suppressor. The wave, you know, this combo is about 70,000, a little bit less rubles. And if you didn't want to use that, you don't really have any other options that are going to put you in that general neighborhood of that 88. Like, everything is going to push up a decent amount, which once again is totally doable. But I mean, we're already really high up in the 90s of recoil. So it's totally up to you. If you wanted to, you know what I mean, you could put the old triple A3 adapter with the land tack and the blast mitigation device, but those things all together definitely come out to a little pricey. It's all USD, but even this is probably a little bit cheaper than the wave, and it's going to put you in a similar vicinity as far as recoil if you wanted to use compensators and kind of go with the 3-piece here. But if you wanted to, you could just rock the Lantac or something like that. If you are up in the neighborhood of using a 308 MDR and spending money on the ammo, I normally do run the wave on this. And I still think that this is like, you know, your quote unquote budget foul, because the SA-58, which is the only other 308 weapon that can go full auto, is going to have a much more recoil already than a like a Meta M4 or something like that. So if you're using that big gun a lot, you're used to using, getting used to all that recoil and stuff like that. And this is still so much cheaper. $70,000 for the gun. These are 66 USD. And so spending that extra money on the wave at that point, once you're up to this caliber, in my opinion, isn't that big of a deal. But you're not having to replace everything on the gun like an SA-58. The obvious downside here compared to something like an SA-58 is that the MDRs only take 20 round mags. So on an SA-58, you can get that up to the 50 round mags, but I don't know. It just, the MDRs are something that I think a lot of people sleep on. You know, it's totally up to you if you like the aesthetic of these guns. I think the MDRs look pretty cool. I know a lot of people that don't at all. But I like the fact that they're simple. I like the fact that it constantly challenges me that I don't have to use the best of the best. And once again, it's not that there's anything wrong with meta. There's nothing wrong with the best of the best, but I think there's, I think it's wrong to think that you can only be proficient with the best of the best. And so the MDRs are super fun because I get really excited when I take down, when I make really good plays, when I take down big chunky boys in Tarkov with guns that force me to be a little bit more intentional with my shots. And it just allows me to spend my money elsewhere. I can spend my money on good ammo because I'm not spending 200,000 rubles on a weapon. You're spending, you know, 70,000 rubles on the gun, $66 here, and 70K on the suppressor. You put an optic you want on, and you are good to go. Just pick your ammo. So the MDRs are super fun. That's kind of it. They're simple weapons, which is what I love about them. You can get them really easily off the flea market. And they are super fun to use. So I hope that this helped. I hope that this maybe just kind of opened your eyes to other options that are out there. I always am trying to push the fact that, like, once again, I've said a few times in the video, nothing's wrong with meta, but you don't have to do that. You can spend much less money, and it all comes down to expectation. Shoot these things in the hideout, figure out how the recoil pattern works compared to something like a Meta M4 or an SA-58, and then just know that going into the fight, you can win fights with these, pull out a ton of gear. So hopefully this got you excited to run some MDRs. Thank you all so much, as always, for taking the time to check out this video. Drop a comment down below if I missed anything, or if there's any guides you'd like to see me make here in the future. I'm always trying to create content that helps shorten the learning curve of Tarkov and get you in your raids having fun as soon as possible. I stream on Twitch. All my links will be down below. We also have a Discord, an awesome Discord, like 2,300 people, from veterans all the way to new players, people that are help you run raids, answer questions, just talk Tarkov, or anything like that. Thank you again so much for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.